My wallet is sobbing. I can hear it. I can hear it in the hall now. It is breaking down, crying.
It turns out that Attila, the arrogant so-and-so, he's got a fake hammer.
Oh, a fake?
Yeah.
Whoa. As I say, dick.
Welcome to episode 132 of the Allegiance podcast. And this week it's myself and Mal. How are you, Mal?
Well, I'm all right. a bit of a cold this week.
Starting into that season, trying to get them all out of the way before our trip to New Jersey.
That's it. Well, let's hope it is rather than
finger and toes crossed.
Yeah. Rather than it's that season where you get it every few weeks. Let's hope it's got it out of the way.
Yeah, I know. I heard a doctor tell me once that when he really has to be well, he just jacks up on cortisone for a few days beforehand.
It's all right if you can do that, though, isn't it? Yeah. If I went to the doctor and said, "Could you just give me?"
Yeah. It doesn't work that way. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. If you ever get cortisone for, I don't know, if you had a very bad lung infection or something, just stash a few of them before the end.
Yeah.
For the next Legion's Con, just in case I need the little help. But so poor old Rich, he was up in Wales putting all his customs together in his spare time, and he's injured. Look at that, popping and swapping.
Popper's thumb.
Yeah, his thumb is covered in a plaster. He's all ill because of all the popping and swapping he did. So he's left us in the lurch.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Hopefully he doesn't lose it. It's, it's pretty serious.
Well, we came up with a solution that doesn't involve Rich generally, even though he does collect them. Cosmic Legion's lore. We're going to continue from episode 23, I think was the last time we did Cosmic Legion's lore in focus. We've obviously talked a bit about the lore when we've received the waves and stuff, and probably read bios, and we definitely recorded a couple of those Korganox logs entries, which we'll reference as well tonight. So we're going to do Outpost Zaxxius up to the first OxKrewe, and which is good timing as well because the OxKrewe is also arriving. Definitely the all-ins, and hopefully soon the different single figures that people have ordered will start to arrive. You got yours, man, I believe?
I did, yes. Showed up yesterday. I've opened Orvar, Callian Shun, the Thraxxon, and the Skateback so far. The three, it'll probably be
first impressions
Friday. Oh, excellent. Yeah. Every figure is a winner so far. They're just you get the skate back, and it's such a different thing to anything else we've got in any of the Legion's lines. Callian Shun has leapt up to be possibly my favourite figure across the whole of Legion's.
Wow, that's a big. She just
feels a different level with the soft goods and the the story and the character of her being a bit of a wastelander, and her armour looking cobbled together, and the mask / helmet that she wears. She's just a really cool character. And I think the big chunky armour, so Orvar has got the big chunky armour, and it's such a different. One of the things I love about Legions is they're more chunky than a lot of action figures and that, but it's another level of chunky. It feels really, it's good. Nice, hand candy.
And did Orvar's little head glow up at you when you opened the box? Like one of those opening the suitcase in the movies, full of money or whatever?
Well, he was the first one I opened because I'd seen people's reviews and people posting pictures of him, and I just thought he looked so good, and that head looked excellent, even better than I thought when it was shown off, and it's even better than you imagine. I've got to say, all the joints seem pretty good as well, not too stiff, not at all loose.
How's the skate back? Nice. Does that move pretty well?
Yeah. He's a bit front heavy, so you have to balance him in just the right way. But he looks so cool. I love him. I had to clear a bit of space on a different shelf so he could stand there, and I moved like the good guys and bad guys along to fit the others on, but because he's quite big, he's quite chunky.
Can he stand up on his hind legs? Or have you
I haven't tried that yet. I haven't done too much messing with them. Just with him. Some of the others I've sort of moved around and posed a bit, but yeah. Oh, and the Thraxxon was. I know we saw pictures of it, but he's a big boy. He towers over the Tusk characters.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
and is he? But he's regular 1.0 size. He's not a brute.
Yeah, he's 1.0 compatible.
But it's just the armor.
Must be his limbs. Must be slightly. Probably the lower leg.
Yeah,
armor is probably slightly larger than usual, and I say towers. He's not quite brute towering, but then he's he definitely a good head above the Tusk. So
he looks like he could take them. Is what you're saying?
That's that he feels like a brute. So like not brute scale, but a big guy who could cause some damage for sure. A bruiser. That's a better term. Yeah.
And I saw our friend David Williams post a cool picture of Uka, and he said he's one of the most fun.
I haven't got him open yet. Yeah, I haven't got him open yet, but I can see that he's another one like Callion who's got lots of bits that feel cobbled together, isn't he? And I think that it's a lot of fun, that style of character. So.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, mine was supposed to arrive today, but didn't. No, it was supposed to arrive Friday, then they changed it to next Tuesday, and then they changed it to today, so I kind of knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, well,
normally gets worse, not better. So let's see what happens. Maybe tomorrow.
Fingers crossed. I think you'll be really pleased. Little,
surprise before the weekend. Yeah, absolutely. And we had the Otto and Urzox sale on Monday. How did you net out on that? They lasted a while, but they did sell out after a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah. I ended up picking up 2 sets. I was only going to get the one, but then I've already thought of something to do with Otho. So I thought, stuff it, I might as well just get one now since I've got a good idea of, and it's a custom that already mostly exists that I'm going to swap out parts with.
Oh, cool. So you're going to put maybe cloth parts in for...
Yeah, that's exactly it. I've got a dwarf character that the blue I've painted it. I reckon will
be a mage, would it?
It is a dwarf mage.
Well, he'll look good with soft goods, that's for sure.
That's it. They might be a bit long. I don't know though. I think doesn't look too bad, does it? On a dwarf,
you can always use the wire bend to kind of curl it up a little bit at the bottom.
That's it.
Make it look a bit more dynamic.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool. Yeah, I just got the one set. I was happy to pick them up, and they stayed in stock. Shipping was good. $27. That was pretty good for 2 figures across the Atlantic.
Definitely.
So these days, so can't complain. And they'll arrive when they arrive. But I mean, they're shipping. I've seen people get them, so I assume that they won't be the most difficult to ship for them because it's 2-pack. It's either 1 2-pack or 2 2-packs.
Yeah,
in a box.
That's
because there was 2 2-pack limit.
Yeah.
So you can't have any complicated orders as such, which I guess it's another reason why they did it that way, to make it easier for the shipping among all the other things that are going on for them.
I wonder if they'll send them out before the singles for OxKrewe to get them out. Feels like they might, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess it'll be what. I don't even know if they are waiting on containers for the singles, so I'd say it'll be a case of shipping whatever they can. I'd imagine that they could do those in a couple of days, so they probably just get them done out the door, and that's another, because then you're done, whereas I'd say the OxKrewe singles will probably take a couple of weeks no matter what they do. So
and they potentially have got another container on the way, haven't they? Because that's what the Jersey Devil's in, isn't it? So
yeah, and he'll be shipping soon. So
Yeah, loads of really cool stuff as well. That's the thing, with lots of different new. There you go. People talk about the reuse, but we're getting so much stuff with so much new. So many new parts, I should say. So much new parts, so many new parts. It's awesome.
Yeah, we'd be all cooled out before Legion's Con. We'd be burnt out with coolness, would we?
Yeah. Well, loads of really cool stuff
Cosmic
to
head
buy at
packs as well.
Legion's Con as well. So,
Cosmic hedge packs as well is coming.
yes.
They
I've
might
got a few plans already for them.
They may well be on the same shipment or close behind the Jersey Devil and those. So yeah, we'll be having those probably soon as well. So we'll definitely give our impressions when we get them.
Yep.
Did you order figures with that one? Do you remember?
Just the Zaxxius mine.
Just the Zaxxius, that was right. Yeah,
because I was going to repurpose. I've got like 5 or 6 miners already, but I thought, well, I'll buy another one.
You can never have enough.
Repurpose
can you?
it. Yeah, I'm going to just add a bit of paint to him and make him a shadow circle Zaxxius. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I thought that'd be fun. So,
that's awesome.
And then I've got the helmet, which I'll probably stick in storage for time being for when I've got a bit more display room. So,
yeah, exactly. Be nice variety to have 1 or 2 with the helmet.
Exactly that, yeah.
Right.
And what did you order much in the way of the heads? We did talk about it.
I did all that. I ordered an all-in of the heads. I didn't order figures, so happy to get them. And I'll see what I'll do with them. I need to rearrange so many shelves here and stuff. That stuff's coming in and just sitting there. I'm getting into a rich situation soon if I don't sort it out.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be something to do between November and December. It's not going to happen before Legion's Con, I'd say.
No, well, you're doing a lot of prep, aren't you? So
doing some painting and stuff. I don't really know if I need to do more because I have a good bit of stuff. So, but yeah, it's always good to keep it going, And often I've done some of the coolest ones, or I wouldn't say coolest ones, but the more popular ones that I've painted have been in the last minute rush. maybe under pressure I come up with better ideas for paint jobs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you have too much time to think about it, it's not good. I think we could all be a bit like that.
Oh, definitely.
I did mention we were trying to speculate last episode about what might happen in October in terms of reveals. Our good friend Brett Stoddart reminded us of the graveyard figures probably going to be announced in October.
Of course, there was talk of more of that, wasn't there?
Yeah, so let's put that on the record that's probably what's coming in October, and then you'll have all the big Legion's Con stuff. So I'm not sure there's nothing between then and now. So I think we're delivering Cosmic Legions. We'll get the next wave of Cosmic Legions, and then I guess they'll solicit another wave between then and now. Hopefully.
I think the Legion's Con wave is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be a really exciting wave. Can't wait.
Yeah, who knows if there could be an element of cosmic there as well. Maybe.
I think they'll stick to. We had a bit of a joke, didn't we? I think they'll stick to Mythics for that. I think it's
just to, I guess, tie a bow on last Legion's Con. There was another thing that hasn't. We were talking about. Most of the things have happened. There's the sideshow statue, which is kind of outside the Horseman's. In terms of producing, I'm sure they're doing the approvals for it, because it's a licensed thing. The Cosmic Legions comic book. Remember that?
Of course, yes.
With Mr. Joe Suter. Was running that.
Yeah.
And we got a cool little. What did they call it again? Little art. There's a little.
Yeah.
There's a cool industry name for that.
Something. White pages or something. No,
it wasn't that.
Right.
But anyway, I'll think of it as soon as we finish recording, of course.
Yeah.
But there was with a bunch of different art from different people in the community. Now, I don't know if for some of those people that will be the kind of their contribution to it, and other people will be more involved. I don't know, is David Williams more heavily involved in that one? So
yeah, David Williams, Jeremy from
and For My Wife's Gonna Kill Me, I think those
was involved as well.
Those two, yeah. So that will be interesting to see where that goes. And I'd imagine that would be a good time to do another wave of Cosmic.
Yeah,
around that time. So
not a bad shout.
Maybe they're waiting for that. So should be fun.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we have Cosmic Legion's lore to get through. So let's do a bit of that.
This is Chris James, and you're listening to the Euro Legions podcast.
It's not going to be like reading stories and stuff like we normally do. We're going to just try and bullet point it a bit for in terms of discussion and whatever. I think that in order to set the scene and for saving people to go back and listen to our previous episodes or go to the website, just a quick thing about Cosmerium. So Cosmerium is the birthplace of the planets. It was created by the cosmic gods of old. Now, I don't know where they were when they created it, but, what comes first, the chicken and the egg? And they're the Aurian authors, and they're Cronan offspring. So we get reference to Cronan a lot, but we've got that skull that came as a gift with the first Cosmic Legions wave.
Yep.
It came in the Walter 2-pack.
Yep.
And it came as a silver version that you could buy through retailers.
That's it, yeah.
So the system is divided into 5 rings, and they go around a fiery sun named Zal, which is the first star. Makes sense. Each circle of this system performs a specific role. So we have Torpos, that's the innermost circle, the home of Horus, the first planet, and the home to the gods, the Aurorian author gods. So that's where they are now. The second circle is Zratos, and that's the heart of the military power. So the Ferox, which we haven't had much of yet, Mal, either.
No, I think, does Callian wear some Ferox armor, possibly?
Yeah. That's where we get it.
Yeah.
And as the last original Cronan races, the Ferox will enforce the will of Horus. Okay? Then the third circle is called Mimesis. So 2 M's. That's why I say it like that. It's the third circle. It's the most populated of the rings and the busiest hub of civilian activity in the system. So that sounds pretty like that's retail. That's where all your shops are and your residential stuff
party
and
planets.
Lots
of gambling on one of the planets somewhere.
The boring bits of Star Wars, basically.
Yeah. Cool world building, but wasn't very well done in the movies.
Trimos, the fourth and fastest growing of the circles, rapidly expanding across the tech expanding access to the tech created in Thermos has been providing unprecedented independence and power to the citizens of Cosmerium. So intriguing one there. And then the fifth and largest and furthest away ring is Exos. It's the least chartered ring of Cosmerium, and its dense and mysterious nature of this sector has aided in forging it into a haven for outcasts, scavengers, criminals looking to escape the reach of the Ferox power. So this is the interesting ring.
And
this is
possibly where a bunch of our story is taking place.
Exactly. So, and then sets the scene. The 5 rings have known peace and prosperity for ages, but things are not always as they seem. Harmony is fragile, and even the smallest fissures can transform into malignant, crumbling chasm. When that chasm opens up, what will be revealed? It could well be the end of a utopian dream, but it could also be the first glimpse into a brighter Cosmerium. So all this is available, obviously, in Source Horseman. We don't make it up ourselves as such. This is coming from the mind of the 4 Horsemen. I guess Jeremy's working closely with Eric on this and other people in the studio. But that's just to set the scene. Then, like in Mythics, in Cosmics, you also have different. In Mythics, they're called factions. In Cosmics, they're called affiliations. So there's a bunch of them. We'll kind of refer to them as we go along, and they'll be referred to in the story. But just a couple of the main ones. So Tusk is obviously all the armored guys. So we got a bunch of Tusks. They're kind of like, how would you? They're like they're
kind of a sort of, I guess. I imagine like Wayland Yutani and Alien.
Yeah,
they're just to talk about something that's quite relevant at the moment. They're the science and
you're watching a bit of Alien Earth,
and yeah. They're sort of in everything.
Would you say they're like the Empire in Star Wars a bit?
Yeah, but I think there's a bit more of a trading and financial aspect to it than military, isn't there? That's what I was kind of trying to.
Yeah. Maybe the Ferox get more into the Empire stuff when we eventually get to them.
We don't know, do we? But we will find out one day.
Yeah. The first wave was set in this grave ring area. It was kind of this fighting pit, a bit like Colosseum and Mythics, so the grave ring in Cosmic, and there's a faction associated with the characters in that.
Then we have was just to expand on that a little bit. It was the prison of Alcatraz, which was a Tusk-run prison, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then they have the Grey Ring, which is where they fight, and I guess it's a good way to sort out which the criminals can sort each other out. Yeah. And I guess there might be a bit of gambling action going on.
It's entertainment, YouTube.
Yeah, so we got then the Bleeders Guild and the Red Spiral. They kind of are linked for me there. I would say the Bleeders Guild is the kind of organized kind of henchman.
Yeah,
and the Red Spiral is more like your bounty hunters type of thing.
Yeah, I'll go with that one.
Yeah, scavengers, outliers, you know. So you could put a bunch of people in there, and the Bleeders Guild is a skilled and dangerous group of agents trained to extract and trade information. Those are valuable knowledge. We have the Maze, which is the meshed assemblage of zonal enlightenment. So this is
the Jedi.
The Jedi, yeah, maybe it's built around interconnected network built around sharing information with the citizens of Cosmerium. These are the Greyborns so far that we received. They seem to be mostly good.
At least the two we've got definitely are, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Then to get on to the OxKrewe stuff, so we have AEXOR3, so XOR3, and the OxKrewe. So XOR3 is the Alliance for Exospheric Reconnaissance, Recovery and Reclamation. Love it. And they're a salvage and exploration organization conducting business around the third, fourth, and occasionally fifth rings of Cosmerium, although that obviously doesn't always work out so well when you go to the fifth ring. And it's one of a handful of successful companies who have thus far rebuked membership in the powerful and influential Traders Union. So they're kind of outside the Tusk, is it?
Yeah, they feel like the more ethical traders and, doing things the right way rather than trying to manipulate and bully people.
Yeah, the way it should work in theory.
Yes. Yeah.
And the OxKrewe, this is one of the story with the second kind of bit of lore that we'll get onto tonight and related to the wave that we're just receiving. They're employees of the XOR company. And this team of reclamation and recovery specialists who fly aboard the Korganok vessel have been known as the OxKrewe. There is a faction called Scape Haven, no data at this time, so that's to do with where this Korganok vessel ends up. We have the unaffiliated citizens of Cosmerium, so that's more or less people that don't fit into a particular affiliation.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of characters in there, like the the Legion's Con exclusives and stuff will end up in there.
I can't even say Anthopheles.
The one that David Williams designed. So
Thraxxions that mentioned earlier in there as well.
Yeah. And they have an unclassified affiliation, but that's more related to the toys and the lore. That's things like weapons packs and things that don't fit into, we had for example, in Mythics, we even had trolls and stuff that would have fit into that kind of no faction.
And there are 4 that we do not know. 4 affiliations.
Yeah. I wonder, would the Ferox be in there somewhere, please?
Probably are, aren't they? One of those is probably the Ferox, when we learn a bit more about them and what they are up to.
Yeah, exactly. So, and of course more could always be added. You saw with Mythics now, we're getting the odd faction added each time we get revealed. So, yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how it develops, especially with what you said about the comic, because Jeremy did sort of say that they were going to use the comic as a way to develop the story a bit more. So will we get characters in the comic that we haven't had in figure form? You would assume so. Will they get added to the site with a little bit of story at that point, and then one day we'll get the figure? That'd be quite cool.
Yeah, that would be quite cool. Yeah, because that's definitely a way to, if you add a really cool character, but you don't have the figure yet, then you'll already create a kind of a market for the demand for the figure, because it's like, oh, did you read the comic? This guy is bad. Like, imagine, the Boba Fett was in, the Star Wars comic, and there hadn't been a figure of him yet, and everyone was like, he was only in the movie for a couple of seconds. Initially, and everyone wanted the figure. So it's that kind of thing you're thinking about here, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And obviously, I'd love to see in the comic the Ferox and these gods and stuff.
Yeah, a bit more about that. Yeah.
We haven't for Mythics, we haven't got the gods and stuff, and the Selene and Helios and stuff like that yet either. I don't know if we ever will, but that might be a very big kind of thing. That almost feels like something that you either start the line with or you finish the line with, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't want to get them now at this stage.
No, let's hope it's a very long time until there's any talk of finishing any of these lines, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, so as you said, the comic, we'd love to get, a real kind of visual story that we can kind of relate the lore that we already know to, but that is also accessible for people that, maybe don't want to go through all the lore. Although, please listen to us. I feel like, the people that don't listen to the lore or are not interested in the lore and maybe don't listen to our podcast are not going to listen to our podcast, especially for the lore.
I don't know, because, I always say I'm not like the biggest lore person, but it is quite fun. I don't dislike, I like stories. I
think people that listen to the podcast in general, that aren't lore aficionados might actually listen to it to go, oh, that kind of, now I get Cosmic a bit more. I think those are the people that might benefit from this episode the most, because it's a lot to read if you don't just read it as it comes out and kind of keep up. It gets to a point where you think, oh, if I go back now, it's an awful lot. Where do I start? And, can I just go in the middle of it? Yeah. But I think that sorry, Mal,
No, I was going to say, and I think with Cosmic, the releases have been more tied into the stories as well, haven't they? Than Mythic was for a very long time. There was story there in Mythic, but it was very loose. It's going to get more, and it is getting more part of the releases. But Cosmic from day one was very tied into the story release, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So should we do Outpost Zaxxius first? So this was the third Mythic Legions wave, as a kind of an in-between wave in terms of it almost felt like it takes place in this transit outpost called Outpost Zaxxius, And it's almost like we're catching characters as they're on their way to other stuff. And as you'll see, some of the story actually links into the next story we're going to talk about as well. So that's super interesting.
Feels a little like the Outpost waves, if that's what they'll continue to be called. I kind of hope they are, because I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Or the equivalent of, say, the what was the All-Star, but is now
Legacies, isn't it?
No. The library. Ashes of Agbendor.
Ashes
it's the equivalent
of Agbendor,
that kind of wave.
Yeah.
So,
gotcha, yeah. Kind of a hodgepodge of
mix
different factions and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to put up a couple of pictures of the different characters as we talk about them and their stories. These are the pictures from the awesome Trevor Williams that are available on Source Horseman.
I mean, he's a fantastic photographer. But some of his cosmic
his cosmic ones are amazing.
Yeah.
So the first guy we're going to talk about is Pilot's Tale. So tell us a bit about that, Mal.
Yep, right. So the Tusk Pilot are an elite fighting squadron, nicknamed the Red Jets. This guy was sort of introduced as he was waiting for his squadron, and they make extra money by selling information, or this one does. He's a bit of an underhand one, but obviously these are troop builders as well, if you want them to be that in terms of figures. And he actually interacts with one of our other characters, who is Callian, and tries to sell her information. He's trying to get information from her, and then she in turn tries...
on, I guess.
Yeah, he in turn tries to get information. She in turn tries to get information from him. He kind of does her over a little bit, and doesn't give her the information she's after. I'll let you, when we talk about the next bit, talk about that information she's looking for. But it turns out he's actually under the watch of his commanders. He's obviously seen as being a bit dodgy. And it sounds like he's potentially going to be done in when they get to their next location, which is in the outer circle, the outer rings, or he's going to get left there. Something's going to happen to him, and it's not going to be great.
They say that they're visiting a prison, and they might not take him back.
Oh yes. So they're probably going to Valkatar, aren't they?
We don't know of any other prison, so
no.
We'll assume it's Valkatar. So this is really interesting to give the pilot something other than just we don't have a jet from to fly in, so how do you give someone another angle to kind of be interested in this character, apart from the coolness of the figure, which is pretty good.
The colours are very, very nice, aren't they?
Yeah. So, but it's also this Big Brother is watching you vibe from the Tusk. It kind of sounds like they're trying to wipe the personality from you, and just make you be compliant, and there you go, that's it. So if we go on to the story that's about Callian Shun, it's called The Bodyguard's Tale. So she's a former elite bodyguard, which is I guess where that comes from, and she's there to gather information about a missing ship called the Korganox. So we're going to hear about the Korganox in the next wave of Mythic Legions Cosmic Legions, slip of the tongue there, that we didn't know about at the time, of course. So this really, it starts to tie together now. You see that they're working on a bigger overarching story when you see stuff being dropped now that gets paid off in a later wave of figures and story. And she's a member of a savage crew that's going to try and retrieve that ship, and because the Korganox, spoiler alert, crashes.
It is it. So this obviously happens after the events of the start of the Korganox story that we'll talk about later, doesn't it?
So she's contacting her commanding officer and reports that she hasn't found any new information. and asks for funds to get her back to her ship. The commander tells her that the company has now received a distressed call from the Gorgonox. So they have a general location, and they're going to go look for it. But she says, she's told that it's not her crew that's going to get the Gorgonox. So she has to wait and get assigned to a different job that we don't know about yet. So despite her instincts telling her something is wrong, she agrees to follow the order and heads for transport. And on her way, she's bumped into by someone wearing a tusk armor. But the person is in a hurry and doesn't notice her. And the story ends with Caroline leaving the outpost and believing she is safer by following orders. And I think we've learned from the Red Pilot that's probably the way, you know.
Yeah, safer to do so.
Yeah. So do you think she's the one that the Red Pilot was talking to, specifically the...
Oh, yeah. I think. It sort of suggests he's talking to lots of other people and different people, doesn't he? But yeah, I mean, he's definitely, she's definitely one of the people he's talking to.
So, and then this Tusk person that she bumps into, so that is our next character, and he's the tribute figure.
Yeah.
Operative 83, so a kind of a loose tribute, homage to Man-at-Arms from Masters of the Universe.
Yeah. And his story kind of references that, doesn't it? And so he is a member of the Bleeders Guild. He has stolen something, we don't really know what, but secrets from Tusk, and he's trying to escape them as we meet him in this story, which is why he's in a hurry. He has a technology this is the reference to Man-at-Arms, the illusion tech, which is it's described as advanced cloaking technology, but it means he can change his appearance, and the figure as a result came with 3 different heads. Very cool colour scheme because it's got that Man-at-Arms colour scheme. And it seems like he can either the way the Tusk navigate into secret areas of the ship, or classified, whatever you call it, areas of the outpost. He can mimic that as well with this, because he is able to gain access to special areas that require special privileges. He is gone to meet someone, but instead of the person he's going to meet, he is approached by what is described as a duoderm bounty hunter, who there was a bit of I forget what they called not a duoderm. It was, what was the other one? Who was Kragnar was a some would think derm, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I forget what. He's not a duoderm though, is he? But similar, obviously, creature to Kragnar, who we got in the first wave.
He's a tetraderm.
Tetraderm, which I'm guessing is the 4 arms. This is the duoderm, 2 arms.
Yeah.
And this bounty hunter works for Tusk, and it turns out he's already killed the contact that was meant to meet Operative 83, and he has been sent after Operative 83 to capture him. Operative 83 realises this big fella could probably better him. So again uses his illusion tech, which suggests our duoderm isn't the brightest, and escapes him. Oh no, he creates an illusion, and the illusion attacks the duoderm. So actually he's got some real fancy technology.
And he makes himself into a copy of the duoderm.
Oh yes, he does.
So that's That's an interesting one. That's a way to get you to buy 2 of the next figure.
And then seeing this kerfuffle and commotion, the Outpost security respond and actually think it's the duoderm causing the problem and subdue him, which leads us on to and in the scuffle, Operative 83 escapes, changing his appearance again, which is why I guess we get those 3 appearances, is that he has 3 heads, and that leads us on to our next story about the duoderm.
Yeah, and this duoderm is Scourge. So big ogre scale dragon. So think Arachagor in green, if you know Arachagor from Mythic regions. And you can see in Trevor's awesome picture here, Operative 83 is kind of behind him in the corridor.
That's it. You feel like...
yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say you feel like Scourge is like gone charging past him, and then Operative 83 sneaking past him in the background, doesn't it?
It looks a bit like that. So he's he gets released. So this actually continues the story directly from the Operative 83. He gets released after they review footage, and so everything is under surveillance here, obviously, and confirm his story that he was framed by this illusionary duplicate, and he didn't initiate the violence. However, he's told to leave the outpost immediately, as he's not there for good intention. So Scourge finds that ship records have been altered, and the Zaxxius staff cannot release it to him, believing him to be a spy. So responsible for this delay. So he receives a message from his Tusk liaison, believing he's failed. He's now opened the retrieval for the contract for the spy to the other bounty hunters. So then Scourge becomes the hunted. So he deduces that the spy is likely heading to Orzara, the main hub for the Bleeders Guild, since it would offer the most resources. So he returns to the hangar and finds his ship is gone, so not good. He gets told that someone with his credentials has claimed it and left. Would we think that's Operative 83, maybe?
I would assume so, yes. Based on all his trickery he's done before.
Yeah. Then he attacks and incapacitates multiple security officers. He's subdued with a stun net and electricity, arrested for violating outpost rules. The hangar controller later discovers that the problem with Scourge's ship was not the spy's doing, but a simple data entry mistake made by a new employee. The controller decides to cover up the error by deleting all records of the ship, letting it become a ghost ship in the outpost deep storage. He chooses not to admit the mistake to avoid further paperwork and a confrontation with the now imprisoned Scourge. So I guess these 2 stories are a little bit standalone in terms of these type of characters. The homages don't really get included in the lore as such. So
So we made a mistake there then, isn't it? It isn't Operative 83 that's stolen the ship. The ship's gone nowhere. They just think someone's taken it. Yes, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
It's a double bluff. It's okay. Yeah. We are talking about this lore. We're not the experts on it. We're taking the information and trying to present it. And sometimes discovering it for ourselves. The subtleties in it. So then we go off to an entirely different story. So this is the next character in the story, not linked as such. These last 2 stories are very much linked, though. Yeah,
and this is the Sphexian miners who are... I love the Sphexians. I say about Callie and Shun becoming my favourite figure of all. I did say, when I was telling John this, I was like, and Rich, I was saying this, but caveat being that the Sphexians still stay up there as... Because they're just... I love the Sphexians. They're just so cool. And yet the Zaxxian miners are some of the good old Jeremy storytelling to get people.
I was wondering why you had
figures. 5. They come as a group of 5 with a flyer leading them. I think that's 6 in all. That's how I read it. Maybe not. Maybe it's.
That's why you got that other one.
Yeah. I can't remember how many I've got now, but yeah. And they are very determined to work and grateful for the work that they've got on the outpost. They're currently waiting on a transport to their next job. And as the Zaxxians seem to do, and I think it's even mentioned about the Zaxxians in Valkatar, they're kind of working to help the Zaxxian homeworld, which is Versapir, that's it. Yeah. It says it there. The story of Versapir is ravaged by corporate resource depletion, which I'm guessing is Tusk, and sort of what we've said about them being a bit underhand and a bit brutal, and forcing a lot of the Zaxxians to find work elsewhere. And the Zaxxians, it seems, are very musical. And they sing a song in the mines to remember their history and hopes for the future. And whilst they are sat there enjoying a meal, maybe a succulent Chinese meal for anyone who remembers that, they are approached by one of the Greyborn that we talked about, who are very peaceful and actually telepathic. And he seemingly, it suggests, can talk to them through the mind rather than through words. Because I don't think the Zaxxians speak normal English or normal sort of words. I think they do, clicks and squeaks and squeals and the singing. And he asks to hear one of their songs, and they agree and sing for him. And apparently this is something that doesn't happen very often for non-Zaxxians. And he is very moved by their song and thanks them before he carries on. And then he says the Zaxxians' journey is uneventful. They arrive in the mine, descend the tunnels, which are dark and cold, and it's familiar to them, and they begin their work. Like the dwarves, you might say.
Yeah. They get on with things.
Yeah, they whistle while they work.
So yeah, if we're ever going to do a story where there's Zaxxian dialogue and Zaxxian songs, how are we going to do that?
I think you just have to say it in English and just make out it's being communicated in a language that people can't understand but somehow can. The equivalent of I am Groot.
True, yeah, gotcha. And then we move on to the last character in this wave, which is Altar Silovius. So he's a high-ranking Greyborn, obviously because he's got the British flag on his head.
I think of the two, I think he might be my favourite, just in terms of I like the monk look that he's got.
Yeah. And he's got really cool soft goods.
Yeah.
2 different colours. So he's a traditionalist who advocates for a return to the maze's original purpose. He's unexpectedly captured by a synthetic server at Outpost Zaxxius and sealed inside a crate lined with a substance that nullifies his telepathic abilities. So that's not great for him. No. And after a journey, the crate is opened and Altar meets his captors. And they are Novian Lean and Umbira Jumbira working together.
Yeah.
And I believe from their story previously, they had a big falling out, but Novian Lean and Umbira Jumbira, but they're back working together, which you can see that relationship might be volatile then.
I think that's very much what it is, isn't it? They fall out, make up, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. So Altar is able to use his mind to read Umbira's mind, and he finds out that they're from the Bleeders Guild, and she stings him, paralyzing him, but leaving him able to hear and communicate telepathically. He learns that a terrorist organization known as the Mortal Thorn has paid a large sum to have him captured and delivered alive. Now, this Mortal Thorn is actually an affiliation as well, listed, but it's not listed in the affiliations main page, but it is listed in the kind of overall briefing of Cosmic Legions. And there's one figure in there, and it's Zarian Spire from Wave 1.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the Mortal Thorn and Zarian Spire, at least, is sort of made out to be more on the good guys' side than the bad guys, and yet they've paid the Bleeders Guild to capture our chap here. Yeah,
so interesting to find out more there, and his captors are working with the Thorn and believe that the maze itself has put a contract out for his assassination, and they're taking him to the Thorn, where CRS intends to use his abilities for her own purposes. So they're going to use him for bad, I assume. And as he's sealed back in the crate, Altair is left to contemplate his future. He finds solace in the memory of the song of the Sphex.
It's a little bit sad, isn't it?
Yeah. A hopeful song that he recently heard and resolves to endure whatever lies ahead. So that's Outpost Zaxxius. So, that was the first real wave that was introduced kind of heavy with the lore. And it was really cool. I think, obviously a lot of work has to go into that as well. So, and you can see how it's joined up with the next bit of lore. But, so I think this is one of the real cool things about Cosmic Legions, is that they really are trying to build a story from the start. Whereas Mythic, there was some story from the start, but it wasn't as fleshed out here as Cosmic Legions. And it definitely makes me want them to release more waves, so that I could find more story. But, the comic will definitely help with that too. Yeah. So then we got the OxKrewe wave, and they were introduced with these Korgonox log entries. And I figure out now that the log entries, so they're named, the first one is 811.23, and that's the month, day, year that they were published on the website. Yeah. So that's the 11th of August 23 was the first one. And I think these were put out afterwards, though, were they?
No.
After the reveal or before?
We were teased with them, weren't we, before? Yeah. At least a couple of them. I'm sure
I think a couple of them,
teased with them, but the first two were definitely teasers.
Yeah. So the first one is so it's the communications officer from the Korgonox, a salvage vessel from XR3, makes the first log entry, and says that they crashed, and that only 6 crew members survived the crash, and they were all in their stasis pods, and the rest of the crew perished. So it'd be interesting to see what a stasis pod looks like. That would be cool, even to see that in, say, the comic or something like that. Mm-hmm. So the survivors set up a temporary camp and salvaged equipment from the wreckage. They were able to assemble a functioning comm unit and send out distress signals, which is where we're getting this info from. The crew's been on the planet for several days, and although their sensors show life forms, they have not yet made any contact, and they've not seen any orbital traffic. The communications officer is kind of expressing his own fear that no one is going to come and rescue them, and their situation is hopeless. But then he apologizes for giving his personal feelings on an official log. Clearly against protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next log entry, Mal?
Yeah, a bit of a shorter one. Well, the summary of it is shorter. just behind the curtain there. No, it is a shorter log entry. So the crew manages to get navigation rig working, and they actually get an idea about where they are, and they discover they are in a remote planet on the fourth ring called Thraxxon. Just to remind what the fourth ring was. Well, hang on, give me a second to find it.
Trimos.
Thyramos, yeah.
Or Thyramos,
sorry. Yeah, however you say it. Okay, so I was wrong earlier when I said it was taking part in the fifth ring. It's in the fourth ring.
It's pretty far out, though.
Yeah. Well, also that's a bit scary because I think it's the third ring where the what are they called? The red spiral found. So
yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, none of the crew have heard of the planet, and they can't find any data on it, on the life forms or the settlements. And the communications officer ends the log entry repeating the distress signal, adding the extra information that they've discovered about their location, which I'm guessing is then the distress signal that Exor, what they called again, Exor 3 has picked up and tell Callie and Shun about.
That's right, yeah. I think that's probably the point where she's getting it. And then the next log entry, so they finally made contact with the planet's native species. And so this is where we start to get introduced to the characters.
Yeah.
And it's an intelligent reptilian creature with bone weapons. So there he is there.
He's very cool.
A very cool figure, yes. Which we now know is the... I've blanked.
Thraxxions.
Thraxxions. Yeah, they're on the planet Thraxxon.
Yeah.
Thraxxions.
This is in particular the Thraxxion scout, this figure.
So the creature's intelligence is demonstrated by their tactics. They cautiously approach the camp, and they throw rocks at the perimeter to see if anything happens. The crew decides to make contact with them, but when two crew members, Velok and Orvar, so we'll hear more about them through the lore in a minute, sit outside the camp's defences, the creatures immediately attack with a surprising level of viciousness. Their bone weapons, however, are unable to damage the crew's armour, and the creatures are scared away by a flash tube, but return the next night with a larger group, and their attacks become more intense. The crew is now worried about the integrity of their camp's defences and fears another sleepless night. Sounds like it's going well.
Indeed, yeah. Does not sound like a comfortable one.
No, and then we get on to the next one, Mal, where we get introduced to some of our crew.
Yeah, we get a few more of the crew members. So I think this is the first... Oh, no, we've had the communications officer mentioned, but begins a new log entry and provides more information about the surviving crew members. Something's just fallen over. And the first
falling apart here.
The first person we get a mention of is Velok Spear, who is our captain. He's not. He's the unofficial leader of the survivors. And the communications officer notes that he's no nonsense, and he leads by example and works harder than anyone else. He's seen as a father figure, and he's credited with keeping the crew focused on their tasks rather than what's actually facing them. And it's said without Velok, they don't know what they would have done. And the entry concludes with the distress signal and gives away the same details again.
Yeah, so He does look no nonsense with his big buzzsaw here, huh?
He does, and he's a big chunky boy in that outfit, that suit.
Yeah, so this was the first glimpse we got then with this figure of this armor.
Yeah, the new
which is awesome, new armor. And this is the XOR armor, that's what they're calling it. Yes. So yeah, and then
it gives you something. It's good. It sort of gives you a contrast to the Tusk armor, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In a different organisation using different technology and a different build, perhaps a little bit less futuristic than the Tusk armor, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's just good that there's differentiation then between them now. So and maybe mixing and matching can create other characters and that kind of thing. The next log entry then introduces the next character from the crew, and it's Eularia. She's the navigator of the Korgonox and also the wife of Velok. So first husband and wife figures we're collecting, I guess, Mal.
Yeah. Like a little family,
and she's someone that everyone in the crew goes to for help. So she seems to be quite a sympathetic character. She's the one that's figured out the location that they're at. So this remote planet named Thraxxon. She has a lot of guilt around the crash, believing she's responsible or could have prevented it, even though she's been assured by everyone else that it wasn't a navigation error. The communications officer is saying that she's in a lot of emotional pain, even though she's still working hard. They hope that if they're rescued, the transit records will reveal the true cause of the crash and clear Eularia of any blame. So, a lot of background info on Eularia.
Do we think there's foul play afoot, maybe, or it is pure accident?
Could well be, given how things seem to go down in Cosmerium.
Well, yeah, there's hints that Tusk are after them as well, isn't there? So,
yeah. And these salvage operators maybe as well.
Yeah.
Looking for
definitely.
For stuff. So then we get on to a really fun character and a real. This is kind of twists the story a bit more lighthearted direction, maybe.
Yeah. And this is, as you say, a new. It was another native species of Thraxxon, the Veblians, and this particular Veblian is Uka, and he speaks Cosma, which I'm guessing is like the international language, bigger than international, the universal language
of Cosmerium,
of Cosmerium, which means they're able to communicate with him, unlike the Thraxians. And the Veblians are fascinated by technology, which leads to his look of, again, this patched together, clearly salvaged bits of tech and bits of, scrap to build his outfit. And Uka's visit seems to end the attacks from the Thraxians. And he advises them that it's the technology that is causing their aggression. And when as he leaves the camp, he builds a small cairn of rocks, which cairn is like a pile for anyone who doesn't know. Which
sounds like you've previously looked that up.
No.
Oh, you know.
I've travelled around England a lot. I've seen plenty.
It sounds like a Scottish word somehow.
Probably is. I'm not entirely
or originated
sure, but
there. Yeah.
You can see, around England, there's lots of cairns about the place. If you visit historical sites, which there's something about this cairn of rocks that sends a message to the Thraxians, and they stay away for a few nights. Sounds like Uka and the crew form a bit of a bond, and it reiterates his love of the technology. almost having a sort of religious reverence for it. And he seems to have access to some technology that would be useful, and offers to get an amplifier to boost the signal, the distress signal, in return for a non-functional generator. So maybe he's going to have a bit of a tinker, or he can do something with it or use it in some other way. The crew, with the exception of Orvar, remain at the camp and wait for Uka to return with the amplifier, which is actually a departure from the protocols, which maybe that's why things start going wrong. The protocols of XO3 actually say they should go and explore and discover. And the communication officer notes that the new contact with Uka has been a source of hope, so they're feeling a little happier than they were, and the spirits have been lifted since his arrival, which is good.
It's awesome, yeah. I mean, more of these cool, friendly aliens in Cosmic, please.
Yeah, definitely. Weird shapes and sizes is cool.
Yeah, and also the type of character, he's the type of character you could see in like a sci-fi movie that kind of is the heart of it, or is the kind of charm of it,
That's it.
And it's awesome because when you first introduce, you think, oh, is he going to be like, a different threat to is he going to work with the Thraxxians? Is he going to be kind of on their side, and the crew has another problem, but he's actually helping the crew, which is awesome. And we get the next Korgonox log entry then is giving us more details about Orvar and his big glowing head and chunky armor.
So good.
So the crew's disagreeable demolition specialist. So he already has the demeanor of a dwarf then.
Yeah, he gives off dwarf vibes.
So he's feeling a bit useless on this planet, so he decides to set up explosive traps outside the camp's defenses. When Orvar tests his explosives, the resulting dust cloud obscures their vision. Rangefinders show multiple unknown objects moving quickly towards the camp. From beyond the wreckage of the ship's engines, the creatures are too fast to be Thraxxians.
Oh no.
So the crew then gets inside the perimeter, but the defenses quickly fail as the new creatures, which are currently unknown, attack. The communications officer is interrupted at the end of the log, and a distress signal is cut off. So this sounds very, very dangerous.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads us to the next log entry, where we are introduced to scary, scary creatures. A mouth full of teeth and a body full of spikes. Orvar's explosions. The communications officer states in the log that they're in a state of fear and adrenaline. And he recounts how Orvar's explosive tests awakened this new highly aggressive species that they know or have become known to be called the lowland skatebacks. So lowland, guessing because they are in amongst all these spiky rocks that they have adapted to hide and look like. And they are four-legged beasts covered in armour, hides, and they were in deep hibernation. But have woken up hungry and gone into a feeding frenzy. It says the skatebacks easily overwhelm the camp's defences, are unaffected by the crew's blasters. Seemingly only Orvar's hammer and the reclamation saws, which we saw, I think it's
with the Velok.
Carrying. Fending them off, I'm guessing sharp objects, and the situation seems hopeless until unexpected help arrives. And that help comes in the form of Uka, which perhaps isn't so unexpected, but also a group of Thraxxions. And the Thraxxions have obviously dealt with skatebacks because they're a native species, and using their spears and clubs managed to guide the creatures away from the camp and back to their hibernation area. Uka then advises the crew a bit more about why and how that's happened, saying that the Thraxxions aren't hostile. So there you go. They aren't actually a bad species. Their initial attacks were an attempt to dismantle the stanchions because the humming sound they made was feared to be attracting the skateback. So actually, the Thraxxions were trying to stop exactly what happened from happening. To ensure the safety, the crew agrees not to repair the defences or set new explosive traps. The Thraxxions, in return, promise to watch over the valley. So they've actually, there you go, made another group of friends in these initially big, scary beast alien type things. Communications officer feels safer than ever, despite the close call, and expresses a sense of gratitude and luck to be alive with his friends.
Yes, that's the thing about this type of sci-fi stories, are that you can have different levels of bad guys. That actually some bad guys are like good enough guys compared to the other bad guys, you know.
Well, I must admit, I've put my Thraxxion on the bad guy's shelf. It'll probably stay there. Although I've put Kernray on the good side guy's shelf and Thraxxion on the bad guy, so maybe I need to swap those two over. We don't know.
Well, which head do you have on the Thraxxion?
I went with the growling one. I like.
Yeah, so maybe that's the initial attack on the on the camp. You know,
I like his little squinty eyes as he's growling.
So then. The final log entry, and I think the final bit we'll cover on this episode, so this will round out the OxKrewe wave, is with the Korganox crew, they're celebrating their survival and they spot a mysterious figure on a distant ridge. Unlike the native Thraxxions and Veblians, this person appears to be well equipped with purposeful off-world gear and weaponry. And we can get a little sneak peek there at them.
She's such a good figure.
We didn't know if it was a she or a he, I guess, at this point, in a way.
Did we?
So concealed with a heavy coat, and the figure disappears before the crew can investigate further. So they're trying to locate it on their rangefinders, but the person seems to vanish without a trace, a detail that Orvar dismisses as an hallucination. More dwarf activity there from him.
Yeah.
However, Velok, he confirms that he also saw the figure and that their equipment was of an advanced nature, and believes they're being watched by an outside party. So despite this, the crew is still hopeful, and they decide to maintain their current course of action. They've begun double guard shifts, but have not attempted to repair the defense, the perimeter fence, trusting the Thraxxions to protect them. And then the comm gear has been amplified thanks to Uka, and they hope that their distress signal will reach further into space. The officer concludes the log with the standard distress signal. So there we are. So there will be a couple more log entries that we'll get to for OxKrewe Wave 2, which will be fun. There is Kernray, magnificent looking figure.
Yeah, so, absolutely awesome.
So you can see there's a lot of depth to the stories. It really is worth kind of investing time in them, I feel, you know.
Yeah, and at some point in the next wave, potentially, probably, is going to be OxKrewe Wave 3, where we'll get some more new characters. The communications officer, we never actually, we don't know who that is yet, do we? So,
yeah. So, that, like, I went through, like, I followed these stories when the stuff came out. It was up for pre-order, but it's been such a long time now. Getting back into them as you get the figures, I think is definitely a good refresher and gets you excited for the figures, and from a different aspect, because I think there's two aspects. There's always the cool figure, shiny thing, awesome, but there's also the story and kind of giving you that angle to be interested in it. And we also got in this wave we get the campsite collection. So that's the different comms gear and things like that.
Yet, but yeah, there it is.
You got it there, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that all makes sense then with the story, Yep. It's not just kind of stuff thrown in there for whatever reason. It actually makes sense with the story. So,
and this was actually the first wave where we sort of had that sort of thing included, wasn't it? And it's then carried on and into Mythics with some of what we're getting in the Horror of Einsamar wave.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and hopefully in the future, because those little small little dio pieces are great, and they don't cost. The way they're doing them, they don't cost, like, they're not a big ticket item, so they're coming in less than the standard figure price. So even if someone says, "Oh, I don't want them in my all-in," it's not like it's not adding a huge amount to the all-in price. It's usually the thing that ends up being free in the all-in. Then So cool. Well, that's that, Mal. So have we anything else for today, or
not that I can think of? It's got me quite excited for the next. As much as I'm enjoying, I kind of want to go and carry on opening figures, but I'm also excited for what's to come and the next. OxKrewe Wave 2 and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I said, we'll get to OxKrewe Wave 2 and the lore, and maybe between now and then there'll also be more cosmic lore coming, and be it the comic book or a new wave or combination of the two. So be on the lookout for that. That's all I'd say. And if you haven't got into Cosmic Legions yet, it's definitely worth it. And you can be selective on it. Maybe I think Curtis only collects Tusk armor figures. Cool. Maybe other people are going to collect the weird creatures or stuff that they can also use in Mythics, integrate. Like Uka, for example, I think you could use all those parts in Mythics somehow, with the goblins or whatever.
Currently a good amount of cosmic figures available on Four Horsemen's shop. Store Horseman, I should say.
Yeah.
Including the Outpost Zaxxius wave that we talked about.
There you go. So, yeah. And I doubt there's too many of them left, so... And when they're gone, they're gone. And then be a couple of years down the line, if you happen to stumble across this video, you'll be like, why didn't we get them when those
I was doing it after reading
guys
the
were talking about it?
Do I go and order a bunch?
Save your money for Legion's Con now. Come on, behave. Yeah? And as I say, we might have to order some graveyard figures in October. So, and they might drop a surprise on us, or... something else you collect might come up. So, the exchange rate to the dollar isn't that good. It's good, but it's not that good.
I'm spending far too much money at the moment. Yeah.
We only live once,
Can't take it with you and all that. Stay safe, everybody, and don't wake up the skatebacks. Well, unless it's Bungie, and we know he's lovely, so...